This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a really long time now. Last year, I was sexually exploited online by an old friend of mine who was already dating someone and claimed to not be attracted to men. For 7 months straight, she would go on to have her way with me, and eventually, when we'd end up meeting up in person, she would be confronted by some of our friends and would go on to make false accusations on my name and claimed that I sexually assaulted her. Everyone in our friend group refused to listen to anything I had to say. I've been holding on to these thoughts and reliving them in my mind over and over again because I knew my story was fabricated and I could not express it, and I refuse to keep that in any longer. I have a lot to say, but I'll try to make it as brief as possible. Around November 2024, I was dealing with the aftermath of a breakup that I had a little while ago that lasted for 3 years or so. I won't go into great detail about our relationship. All I can really say is that I struggled to let go of that love. I let out my frustrations in our server that we had. I didn't express specifically what was causing me to feel the way that I was feeling, but I expressed that I was feeling lonely and isolated. I felt like I couldn't understand how to move on from someone that I loved for so long and just felt envious. I planned to leave Discord for a little while, but the old friend in question would go on to message me and ask me if I'm alright. The two of us never really spoke in DMs a lot. I appreciated the fact that she did this and expressed a little bit of how I was feeling. After this moment, she became a little bit more clingy to me. I would say gradually, but it wasn't really gradual. It just kind of happened. She would say things like she missed me pretty casually, and I didn't think anything of it, and I was expressing reciprocation. And over time, the clinginess kind of just increased, but I didn't mind it. It was something that I wasn't really experiencing for a while after the breakup, and I thought it was just a really kind gesture. In the grand scheme of things, this isn't really that bad, but it was already setting up what would be to come later on. She would begin to get more comfortable with me and would start making suggestive comments towards me. It started off not too crazy, but over time she would get a little bit more bold with her words. We had another group chat that was always just flirting with each other for some reason. She would shift the conversation from the DM group to my DMs, which is specifically what throws myself at you meant. She wanted to tell me something sexual, but she also knew already that I get embarrassed very easily. She says specifically, I'm going to give you a moment to mentally prepare since I know you fluster easily. And then she goes on to say her flirt. I don't know what she said because she edited her message, but it was along the lines of sex. The conversation beforehand was most likely about cuddling, but she made the cuddling sexual. I continued to act naive because I don't really want to go anywhere further from this. And this is just the first instance, like saying that she would peg me, making sexual comments like she'd want to take my body. She'd make more sexual comments without me even realizing, and would just straight up start asking me about my dick. At this point, I didn't even feel comfortable saying the word dick around her, but she would get more bold. She'd say that she'd put my dick on a leash. She would tug it, and I didn't know what to feel about this, but I didn't really want to make it a big deal. For some reason on the knife, she was just really sexual towards me, and would actually find a genuine trigger of mine. She'd go on to tell me a pet name that I don't really feel like saying verbally. And I respond telling her that if she actually committed to what she was saying, then I would have had a genuine reaction. And she already knew that I fluster easily. She specified this. Then she'd go on to make a flirtatious comment about what I said, saying that she would like to break me. She meant what she said. She would backpedal on her apology, and she would just flat out say it. And I tried to just make a joking remark about it and move on. I didn't know you were that obedient, I suppose. I just was like, I didn't know either.
I also even tried to divert the conversation away from this topic by even sending a stupid BFDI clip. Like, that was my mindset of this. I'll show you.
Yes, it is. Please don't make a big deal about this.
But then she proceeds to continue to flirt with me anyways. And she edits another message again. I don't know what she says this time, but it's along the lines of that phrase most likely. I don't know what in my brain flickered, but something was like, I could do the funniest thing right now. I'm sorry for getting us here. I'm like, that's enough for one night. Stop. She emphasizes then for one night. I'm like, God, she's actually getting me to feel some type of way. I'm learning so many new things. And then she immediately says, I don't think I'll publicly use this newfound power, though that would be too embarrassing. She immediately specifies that she's going to keep this private between us. She continues to say these phrases towards me. And I'm expressing to her that I'm mad about the fact that she found these type of things out about me. She proceeds to say, I mean, it wasn't new information, but it helps. And the same night, she would choose to call me and decided to sleep with me. In this call, she would go on to say these type of comments to me vocally. And just the text version alone was already enough to embarrass me. So hearing her say these type of things to me over and over and over again was getting me to genuinely feel so fucking embarrassed. But I just took it because I didn't think it was supposed to be something that I was supposed to take seriously. So for the whole night, she would call me this word over and over again. She wouldn't stop, no matter how many times I'd tell her to. She loved the reactions that I was giving her. A day would go by afterwards, and she would keep going. Again, she's expressing that it's fun. It's entertaining for her to fuck with me like this. She couldn't say this phrase to me publicly, so she'd find other ways. Instead, she would just call me cute. She thought it was cute, just the fact that she could just toy with me so easily. And she even said that she took a mental note of it before this even happened. Unlike her, I would actually ask her if it was okay for me to say these type of things back. She would respond by saying, "Oh my god, I had a feeling that you were going to say something like that," already anticipating that I was going to even ask her in the first place. But she would give me the okay. But even then, me saying it made me embarrassed. I expressed that feeling here, saying, it's so bad I get flustered just by trying to say it back. But she just does it so naturally. And for a while longer, she would just continue to just say these types of things to me over and over again. She'd get bolder, and over time, I just began to accept it. Eventually, though, it would get to a serious turning point on one of our calls that we'd end up having. She would be so bold with her words, and it would genuinely get me to feel so much more embarrassed and just aroused. I was actually starting to tell her that I felt weird inside. I was trying to tell her over and over again, but that made her more excited. I remember that it went on till like 5, 6 a.m. until eventually I couldn't hold in what I was feeling anymore. And then I released and I told her what I did, and I felt so much shame and guilt. She'd go on to just cradle me. She didn't change her attitude. She didn't change the way that she was speaking to me. And that confused me. And this guilt followed with me for the next day until I eventually approached her about how I was really feeling. I expressed to her, I just don't think I deserve what she's giving to me. I don't feel like this is something that she should be doing with me. She felt as though that I did deserve what she was giving to me. She was saying that when something's given to me, I hesitate to accept it. I feel like I don't deserve it. She went on to basically tell me that I'm overthinking. These type of words made me really happy, but it wasn't what I was trying to convey. And I tell her that I felt like that I was hogging the affection that she should be giving to her girlfriend. I'm someone that was struggling with my own relationship issues. The love that she was giving me now was so similar to the kind of love that I had in the past that I couldn't help but just take it. But at the same time, I knew it was wrong, and I wanted to tell her that I felt like it was not right for me to have. At the same time, I didn't want to let it go. She didn't mention her girlfriend not once in her response, and she only talked about her and I. She expressed that she was just really struggling to feel love, expressing that I showed her that she could love someone just as a friend. Although she avoided what I was trying to talk about, she focused on the fact that we were one and the same, and she wanted to be with me. When she said these words to me, I couldn't help but just throw away all my worries that I previously had. She didn't seem worried about her girlfriend at all, and it made me happy. It made me so happy that I could give her this type of feeling that I didn't realize that I was really giving her. All I could think about was giving her what she wanted, and then I accepted her. After that conversation, it would only get hornier and hornier. It would even start to release alongside me. She would always find a way to bring me back into this sexual type of tension with her over and over again. and I just accepted it. I would eventually even tell her bluntly that I really just don't see myself at that point with anyone else, spending time with anyone else anymore. I felt so attached to her that I couldn't see myself being around anyone else. And she would even admit that she knew. You know, a messed up part of me feels awesome that I was right about something. And she would even reciprocate those type of feelings as well. She knew that I was starting to depend on her. She knew that I was starting to want her. And she fucking loved every single second of it. There would be one point near the end of February where I would actually try to do what she would usually do to me. And I would try to show my own dominance in the relationship. But she showed me just how easy she could just walk away from me. And I wanted to be able to actually feel as though I could do something back to her. But she showed me just how easy it was for her to reclaim the control in the relationship between the two of us. There would be points where I'd actually question whether or not I'm making her comfortable or not. And I would ask her. She'd say that no, this is what she looks for. No, this is what I want. Please keep being lovey with me. No, this is what she wants. And if she was ever feeling some type of way, she'd tell me. She was always in this controlling position. I never really had someone challenge her. But in the beginning of June, one of my really old friends would kind of start getting more active again in our friend group. On June 4th, I told the main girl that I was going to play a game with her on Roblox. But at the same time later that day, the old friend wanted to play Roblox with me as well. I let the main girl know that, and she seemed a little off about hanging out with the two of us and didn't want to play anything else. I didn't really see that big of an issue, and so I just suggested we play together, all three of us, because in my eyes, there was really no reason not to. So a lot of time had passed, and the main girl would decide to just leave the call. She seemed a little off. She seemed like upset, but I didn't really understand why. She would kind of push me aside a little bit, saying that she didn't really want to get involved between the two of us. She didn't want to get in the way. I was trying to find any type of solution to help her feel better, but at the same time, I was telling her that if she didn't really want me around, then that's fine. She was still really conflicted because she didn't really want to express her anger and frustration out to me, but she was saying that she did miss me a lot. So I told her that I'd hang out with her and call her. When I called her, she gave me the silent treatment for a little while. I felt like there was something that I must have done to make her really upset at me, but I didn't understand why. About 20 minutes or so, I'd finally get myself to ask her some more questions. This night, she told me that she was really conflicted with how she felt. She didn't know what she saw in her future, in terms of her relationship, in terms of who she saw being with her in the future. I tried to stay neutral, and I told her to just simply do whatever she thinks is good for her. But after this conversation, I also felt as if I shouldn't be hanging out with other people like that anymore. It made me scared that if I were to hang out with people like my old friend again, then she might end up going to a spiral like that once again. I thought that I made her seriously jealous, and I didn't want her to be jealous about me. But I didn't want to just shun my old friend as well. So a week later, my friend would ask me to play Roblox again with her, and I didn't want to just deny her. But I also had this dilemma of playing anything else with anyone that wasn't the main girl that I was hanging out with. I decided to play with her independently that night, and I told Kai about this as well. Part of me was a little worried that Kai would get upset like she did previously. Our session didn't really last too long, and I'd actually see Kai on Roblox. I decided to go join the game and see what she was doing because I thought she was just playing something on her own, waiting for me. But her girlfriend was also in the game and would walk over to me. She didn't react much, but this interaction really got to me like a smack in the face about the fact that, again, she was someone that was already dating someone else. There was no reason for her to ever feel like this about me the way that she felt last week. This intense jealousy that she had for me last week, there was no reason for that at all. I left the game after that, and for the rest of the night, it was almost as if she was flaunting the fact that she had a girlfriend in my face. She was talking about her in the group chats, and our interactions were very silent for the rest of the night. So for the next day, I decided not to really talk to her. Around 11 a.m. or so, Kai would try to interact with me first. And she was a lot more pushy for my attention. Didn't even let a whole hour pass without her showing her paranoia, without me even saying anything to her, as if she already knew that she made me feel this way. Eventually, I gave in, and I decided that after some time to really think about it, I was going to be honest. I firstly was expressing how I just wish I'd never joined their game to begin with. But the reasoning as to this was because again, it was a snap of reality. I was really feeling like I was just some side piece for her. As if I was just some person that she could just cling on to whenever she didn't have her girlfriend with her. She doesn't really go on the specific topic that I'm going for here. She talks about specifically the game, over explaining why she was even hanging out with her girlfriend. In my eyes, I didn't care about the fact that she was hanging out with her girlfriend at all. I was worried about the fact that I was getting in the way of them. I told her again that I didn't want to lose what we had. I wanted to be her number one. I wanted to be the person that she was wanting from me. But I also knew that her girlfriend was supposed to be that person for her. I felt so selfish thinking this way. She would tell me that she felt the same way as me, that she wanted to be my number one as well. And I just didn't understand. And I would vent to her more about my feelings, how jealous that I might get so easily when I shouldn't be feeling this way at all. The responses afterwards just get more messier. We don't really end up getting a coherent type of resolve in this conversation because neither of us are really wanting to let go of each other at this point. And then eventually start to backpedal. Just seeing her so depressed, I didn't want to be the reason again that she feels so upset. And in the end, this conversation ended up going nowhere. I didn't want to be her cause of pain. I wanted to keep making her happy just like I always did. Near the end of June, one of my friends would make the suggestion to actually go visit Kai as a group. A few of us thought that it would be a good idea to try. I won't go into too much detail on this trip, and if you want to know more about it, I have the document linked to this video, but for time's sake, I think I'm only going to be more brief. The trip would end up consisting of 5 people, including me and Kai, and we spent about the next month or so figuring out how exactly we're going to go about this plan. I used my financial aid money to pay for an Airbnb and a rental car after some convincing from my family, though I had to pay for a much more cheaper car due to my age. The general idea in terms of travel would be that she would have to be picked up early in the morning and her parents would come get her around 10 p.m. or so. She wasn't allowed to stay in the Airbnb. The two of us were also really excited just to see each other and we're making plans for our own independent time. I had my own room in the Airbnb, and so we discussed spending time in there together. Though meeting her in person was almost like my mentality reset all the way back to how I was like in December, where I was really shy to really do anything towards her. Meanwhile, she was the one kind of approaching me. And even when we first met one another, she'd immediately go in for a hug. Her first comment towards me was about just how awkward I was. Once we'd end up getting to our Airbnb, she would invite me to cuddle her and had our time alone. She'd be the first to pull me in for a kiss. She'd be the first to initiate most of the acts. The first and second date, we didn't really do too much together besides just cuddle and kiss every now and then. We did have a few moments to talk about the situation between us, even if brief. She'd go on to specify she actually regretted holding back, wanted to do more of me, but she was happy that we had 6 days to do whatever we wanted. She was saying that she couldn't get over just how nervous I seemed when deciding to do anything, and was even cautious about making too many moves and scaring me off from her, as I was too nervous to really do anything. And the day after, she would kind of flaunt the fact that I was kind of nervous. On the third day, we would actually get a lot more touchy. It would start off just as cuddling, and I would make the first move, and she would get on top of me, and she would touch me inappropriately. It would kind of go on like this for a little while until I would end up asking her if it was okay if I could touch her back. She would give me the okay, but even then, I still felt a lot of paranoia. I kept on repeating the question over and over again on if she was okay. Eventually, it'd be over, and then we'd go back on with our day. And then the next day, we ended up doing similar acts with one another again. Throughout the whole time, we didn't ever actually have intercourse. It was entirely just touching. But even then, it went a lot farther than it should have. However, near the end of that day, one of our friends went over to go ask Kai what was going on. I wasn't really aware of what was happening. I was a little too naive. I eventually would go back to my room again with Kai, and the friend in question would end up leaving. And after some time, Kai would ask me to go close the door again. And she'd end up having a similar talk as to when she had in June 4th, saying that she didn't understand what she saw in her future. She didn't know what she wanted. And this time she was a lot more direct, saying that she didn't know if she wanted a future of me or a future of her girlfriend. I wanted to continue giving her an unbiased response after I let her vent all these frustrations. And I told her that I didn't mind whatever she chose for herself. If she wanted to end any intimacy whatsoever, then I was perfectly fine with anything. I was happy with whatever she wanted. So she ended up leaving after I convinced her to start heading home. I would end up actually opening up to one of my friends about the predicament that me and her were in together. I felt like we had a genuine connection with one another. I just felt like I needed to be there for her. I wanted to be exactly what she was asking for, the person that she wanted by her side. I spent about like an hour or so telling this friend everything about how I truly felt, and then eventually called it a day. I wanted to give her time to process everything and come up with an answer that she wanted, but that would be the last day that we'd ever actually speak to one another. The day after, Kai would go on to accuse me of SA, grooming her, rape, all these different accusations, and everyone in my friend group immediately believed her. And no matter how hard I tried to defend myself, they'd find more reasons to twist my words, completely twist my character, completely twist who I was, and I couldn't even properly defend myself. It was difficult for me to find evidence because I didn't want her to be my enemy. I didn't want to fight against her, against any of these people. I wanted them to understand me, but I didn't want to throw anyone under the bus. Meanwhile, Kai instantly said that she hated me, immediately claimed that everything that we've been through together was all a lie. She knew exactly how I felt, and yet when they told her how I felt about the relationship, she acted naive, she acted ignorant about how I felt, despite her over and over again reciprocating the same thoughts that I had, telling me that this is what she was looking for from me, telling me that this is what she wanted out of me. Yeah, she said that everything that she did was only just to make me happy and nothing more. All I could think about was her happiness, was her satisfaction. I could only think about her. And so when she said all these things about me, when she accused me of these serious, crazy fucking things, I genuinely broke inside. It was the hardest that I ever mentally fell in my life. I was able to eventually slowly get back on my feet once some of my old friends that I stopped talking to for a little while would eventually reach back out to me. And they listened to what I had to say. I knew what I did was wrong. I should have never been in that relationship with her to begin with. I should have been honest about what was going on between us. I should have told her girlfriend. I should have told anyone. I know what I did wrong, but I know what I didn't do wrong as well. And those lies that she put on my name was not something that I could let myself stand on. I refused to ever accept that, no matter how long it took. The real reason why I've decided to finally tell this story is because I refuse to ever let someone call me out of my name, tell me that I'm someone or something that I know that I'm not. I refuse to ever let someone have their way with me ever again, or to think that they could just get away with speaking about me however they want. I personally don't care if she ever finds out that I spoke about this publicly. I do ask, though, not to harass her or to go after her if this video were to actually reach anyone, because I really don't know. My audience is small, so I have no idea. But I ended up finding someone so much better than Kai in the end. I'm happy that I'm able to give that real affection towards someone that will actually love me, rather than someone that is just going to use me for their sick self gratification and lie on my name. So to you, Kai, I simply hope that it was worth it. And I hope that whatever choice that you've made from that point on onward was something that you're happy about. I hope that you're not making the same type of mistake again, and that you've learned from your mistake. I certainly have. This was a long time coming, and I'm not sorry for speaking about you. If it were up to me, honestly, I'd show our entire fucking chat log. And honestly, there's more things I could have talked about, but I've chosen not to. It really is sad. All this could have been avoided if we just talked like normal human beings. But what's done is done. And now that I've gotten to say everything that I've wanted to say about you, I can finally convince myself to cast your name aside for good. From this point onward, you are now nothing but a stranger to me, and I'll never think about you again. I'll never speak about you again, and I'll never care about you again. Your girlfriend truly deserved something better. So with this, I bid you farewell.